Okay, and for our last part in our 3-part series, we're going to make dessert. We're going to make the most absolute delicious Oreo cheesecake. And this recipe is foolproof, it's crack proof. You're going to love it. Okay, now let's go over our ingredients. For the cheesecake, it's very simple. You're going to need 5 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese. We're going to need a half a cup of sour cream, 4 large eggs, and you want all of this to be at room temperature. So take it out about 2 hours before you're ready to make your cheesecake. Then we're either going to need some pure vanilla extract or some vanilla bean seeds. And of course, some white granulated sugar. Now for the Oreo part of our cheesecake, we're going to need, of course, some Oreos. These are double stuffed. Yours don't have to be. Okay, now for our crust, we're going to count out 28 Oreos. Very specific here. Has to be 28. Okay, we got our 28 Oreos for our crust. The rest we're going to save later for our garnish, so be careful not to eat one. Okay, maybe just one. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take our Oreos and grind them in our food processor until they're nice and fine. Coffee, anyone? And we're going to add all of our Oreo crumbs to a bowl. Now this is where the real fun begins. And I just want to do a quick side note here. I recommend if you're going to make this that you use the regular Oreos. If you're going to use the double stuff like I did, you could probably use about 21 to 22 Oreos as opposed to 28 of the Oreos if you use the regular ones. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so to our Oreo crumbs, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Grab a fork. We're going to mix this in. Okay, we got a little loose mud action going on. That's what you want. Okay, we're going to take an ungreased 9-inch springform pan. Gonna dump our Oreo mixture right in. Okay, press it down, flatten it out, get it all around the sides. Can go around the edges with a spoon, make it nice and level. Okay, once you got it exactly where you like it, we're gonna bake this in a 350-degree oven for 8 to 9 minutes. Okay, so once your crust is very firm to the touch, we're ready to go. So we're gonna let this cool while we work on our cheesecake. Okay, over at the counter, we got our stand mixer, paddle attachment, and our stand mixer bowl. The whole 9 yards. So we're gonna add our cream cheese to our stand mixer bowl. Okay, with all our cream cheese in, we're gonna put our bowl into our stand mixer. Just the cream cheese. And we're gonna mix this for about 30 seconds on low speed. Just to get our cream cheese nice and mixed up. Okay, after 30 seconds, we're gonna go in with half a cup of sour cream, 1 cup, plus 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and 2 teaspoons of your vanilla extract or your vanilla bean seeds. Now since we're doing Oreo cheesecake, I'm just gonna go with the vanilla extract. So we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of that. Okie dokie, hokey pokey. We're gonna turn our mixer back on to medium-low speed and mix this until everything is incorporated. Okay, we're gonna stop. Scrape down the sides of the bowl, scrape off the paddle attachment. Okay, and we're gonna go back in. Mix everything again for about 30 seconds. Okay, we're gonna stop that. We're gonna let this rest for a second. Okay, we're gonna crack our eggs into a separate container. Okay, we're gonna give this a good mix. Warp speed! Okay, so with our mixer on low speed, we're gonna slowly add all of our eggs. Okay, so once your eggs are just barely mixed in, we're gonna stop this. We're gonna scrape down everything. Scrape down the sides, scrape down the bottom. Make sure you get on the bottom. Get in there nice and deep, as they say, or so I heard. Okay, with everything scraped down, we're gonna go ahead and lower this and we're gonna mix this one last time on low speed for 30 seconds. Don't overmix it. Okay, so we're gonna scrape down everything one last time. And if you're wondering, yes, this is a new spatula. I was being stupid and the other one fell on the floor, so I had to get a new one. Okay, so this next step is very important. Don't skip it. Actually, don't skip any of the steps, but this one especially. So we're gonna take some towels, put them down, and get our cheesecake mix, and we're gonna pound this for about 45 seconds, my typical Friday night, until all those air bubbles start to rise to the top. Oh, the neighbors are gonna love you. Okay, once you pounded your anger away, we're going to pour our cheesecake over our cooled Oreo pie crust. Okay, once you got your cheesecake, everything in and nice and smooth out, very important instructions. We're gonna bake this 325 degrees for 30 minutes. Just follow me here. 325 degrees for 30 minutes. Then I'll show you the next step. And there's the oven. So once that 30 minutes is over, we're gonna turn our oven down to 250. And we're gonna continue baking for another 45 minutes. Okay, so after that 45 minutes, we're gonna turn the oven completely off. We're gonna leave the cheesecake in the oven with the door closed for 30 minutes. For some carryover cooking. Okay, so once that 30 minutes is up, we have a couple more steps. So now what we're gonna do, again, the oven is off, crack the door open, just a crack. And I like to use this little wooden spoon, kind of keep it open the perfect amount. So we're gonna crack our oven door and set the timer for 1 hour. And the whole reason you're doing this is because if your cheesecake cools down too quickly, you're gonna get a crack in it. Now it might seem small at first, but by the end it's gonna be the size of the Grand Canyon, and you don't want that. So we're gonna let our cheesecake cool down nice and slow. Okay, so here's the deal. We removed our cheesecake from the oven. Now we're gonna let this cool on the counter to room temperature, which is gonna take about 3 to 4 hours. Okay everyone, it's been about 3 hours later. As you can see, all our hard work paid off. Our cheesecake has no cracks. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna cover this loosely with some aluminum foil. Then we're gonna put this into our fridge for preferably overnight, but you could go as little as 6 hours if you're in a rush. I'm gonna do overnight. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's the next day, and we got our cheesecake out of our springform pan. Now it's time to work some magic and decorate it. Okay, now for the topping to our Oreo cheesecake, we're gonna go back to our food processor. We're gonna add about 5 or 6 Oreos. Same thing, blend them, grind them until they're nice and fine. We're gonna take our Oreo crumbs and we're gonna sprinkle them over the top of our cheesecake. Now, if you want, you could just go ahead and use a spoon or your hands and evenly distribute them over the cheesecake. Me, I'm gonna use a sifter just to give it more of a softer, lighter look. You can go as light or as dark as you want here. I'm gonna go pretty dark. Okay, I'm gonna sprinkle some more on around the edges. If you want, you can take a spoon, just even it out. Now, any extra Oreo crumbs you have left, save them, because we're gonna use them to make some cookies and cream frosting. Okay, back to our trusty dusty stand mixer. We're gonna be using the paddle attachment. Our bowl. To our bowl, we're gonna add 1 stick of softened butter. Okay, now we're going to beat our butter on medium speed for about 5 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. Okay, so our butter is nice and pale, fluffy, which is what you want. Now we're gonna add 2 cups of powdered sugar on low speed. Okay, once all your powdered sugar is in, your frosting is probably gonna be looking a little rough. So now we're gonna add 1 to 2 teaspoons of our vanilla extract. And then we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of milk. Now we're gonna start out with 1 tablespoon and see where we go from there, see how the consistency is looking. Let this mix in for about a minute or 2. Okay, our icing is nice and smooth. I probably only added about, I wanna say, a tablespoon of milk, since we only used 1 stick of butter and 2 cups of powdered sugar. We're gonna add our Oreo crumbs to make this cookies and cream. And then we're gonna start off with about a tablespoon of our Oreo crumbs. Alright, that looks perfect. So, we're gonna get this up, scrape the sides of the bowl, and move on to our next step, which is gonna be decorating. Cookies and cream frosting for our Oreo cheesecake. Okay, so we got a piping bag. We're gonna use a star tip. Gonna put this in here, cut off the tip, just the tip. Okay, let's rock and roll. Okay, we got our cheesecake, some leftover Oreos, and our icing. Let's begin decorating. So what I'm gonna do is start right here. We'll call it 12 o'clock. Make a little swirl. Go right across, call it 6 o'clock. Another swirl. 1 at 3. 1 at 9. Then we'll go around and fill in the gaps. So now we're gonna take an Oreo, we're gonna place it right on top of our frosting. We're gonna go around and do the same thing, all over. Our Oreo cheesecake is done. My kitchen is wrecked, but it's worth it if you made this for somebody you love. And I made it for myself. Okay, we got our cheesecake ready. We got a nice sharp knife. Let's begin cutting. Now if you want a tip, if you want nice, clean slices, clean off this before you make every slice. Oh, this is gonna be a big slice. Uh-oh. Okay, nobody else is home. I guess I get the first slice. Oh, oh baby. Look at that perfect slice. Come on, man.